Adil, welcome back. Just to start with, you're fairly well renowned for being provocative, but mostly for the right reasons. The whole premise and rationale as a business for 41314 is effectively wholly new. And I think it's worth briefly recapping precisely what you stand for as a business.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you for having us. Provocation, in my world has never been bad. So I've always said that provocation nurtures focus, progress, and accelerates innovation through collaboration. And that is at the heart of what we do with 41314. We look at collaborations, we look at setting up ways of working, connecting the dots with service providers, with brands, retailers, airports, airlines, throughout all different types of industries to get people back to work safe, in a sustainable way, but also with a higher level on health and well-being at work.
So what are you principally focusing on then?
Well, we started, as you know, in the outbreak of COVID, we started with masks because there was this incredible demand for masks. We have stretched our networks to see what kind of manufacturing we had, but we found very quickly that quality was bad, quality was insecure, bad testing, fake testing of the lab results, and then on top of it, the prices, they just shoot through the air. It felt like a gold rush, and we wanted to stop that because we didn't believe that from a sustainability point of view, having all those masks that one doesn't always need to use a surgical mask, we started there. And for us, it was really about resetting a broken model because the model is broken. And we want to find a new way on how we can connect buyers in need with sellers directly to the store. So there's no middleman involved. And we've addressed multiple industries. And for us, as 41314, the most important thing is a sustainability first approach on pricing, on sourcing, and on the logistical side.
I want to get into the pricing point because this is actually a key pillar of your business. It's pivotal to what you're doing. You're actually fighting against the flow, and it's really all about trying to insist that the margins are reasonable so passengers have access to a great product at the right price, not the wrong price.
Yes. And here, Peter, we're not really focusing on the retailers, basically. What we're focusing on large asset holders that have a lot of people. So that's a starting point. But yes, the margin here also, we pre-negotiate margins. So because we talk to the manufacturers directly, we came up with the idea, basically, if we can sell it cheaper, faster, have more sustainable logistics supporting the transportation, then this is a win-win for everybody. And this is not a project that we started for margin. This was a project that we started to help out. But we see, obviously, on the pricing, that there was a lot of things that were abusive. So what we started doing, we started to apply day rates. So as soon as the factories where we work with, China, Vietnam, Malaysia, as soon as they drop the price by 2, 3, 5 cents, whatever it is, we can factor that directly in, even if the stocks have been already manufactured, which is very different because the others, they work all in lots. But for us, PPE is definitely not the thing we're focused on because we believe that there's a lot more great products out there that are very relevant and even more relevant in the future for the traveler. And we don't look at the traveler as a traveler per se in airports and airlines. We look more at the commuters because when you take the train, you take the bus, all the same principles are applying because you are with many people in small environments where you travel or in a large environment in a train station where still certain standards have to apply. And also there's shopping available there. But to be honest, I don't think that the old model of how we used to go to an airport will remain the same. And it, in fact, should not.
Let me get into some of the other projects you're directly involved with. It's the Step Out, well, it's part of the PP profile, but actually it's much broader than that too. And I know that very recently you've been included in Shashank Nigam's sort of incubator series of best products available in the market right now. And there's a whole process. Exactly, it's their launchpad, and that's a really step right, because he's got an extraordinary network, as we know, principally amongst airlines and indeed airports, and that's a major platform for you as a business. What exactly are you focusing on in that area?
So what we have done is, as we stand for connecting the dots and building sustainable relationships, we have mapped out our entire network. So between all the partners, we've started looking, okay, what's your network? What is your network? And if we combine those networks, how far is our reach? So looking into now network, we started working with Futurecast. And as testing has become such a big issue globally, we believe that testing shouldn't be the sexiest, the fastest, the coolest, whatever. We want it to be the best, the most accurate, and from a pricing point of view, at the best price. So we have collaborated with multiple labs globally, with biotech companies that are leading biotech. There's 800 scientists behind it. We have a medical board, we have a scientific board that's behind it. And this is how we presented basically our golden standard testing solution, where we have basically one of the few that have end-to-end solutions. So we have the manufacturing of the labs, we have the procurement of the products, and this is always directly at source. So we have basically the entire value chain that we can provide, and we can provide that in a very short period of time. And the biggest issue here is capacity. Capacity is everywhere an issue. For us, we don't have a capacity because we can build up to 50 to 80 containers a month. And we are not only buying products from China, we have Germany, the US, because we want to have the best solutions for all the parts of the world. Because in certain parts of the world, some are not accepted or are non-approved.
Is this effectively a global first for the business?
For what is out there on the market, from what we see, and collaborating with leading biotech companies in the world, the way we have approached it, I think yes, definitely.
And is the principle about margin consistent with everything else that you're doing?
Yes, because here again, we don't use middlemen. And as you know, in the biotech, in the pharmaceutical industry, in
layers and layers.
Layers and layers of middleman, more commission, and we have cut that all out because we have the manufacturers of the labs, the manufacturers of the test kits, the manufacturers of the machinery. We can supply the people that do the test. This is not done. This is medical stuff. So this is executed by medical people, and we can deploy that faster than from what we know the market is deploying at the moment.
So just how pivotal will the leverage that Shashank's platform may have for you be for your business?
Some bits are bigger, some bits are smaller, but don't forget, we have an extremely large network. Obviously, also for my background, having been a retailer, having been at Vienna Airport, having been the advisor for AOE, where we've met incredible amounts of airports and airlines. So we have that already. Here, what Simplifying has been doing from the beginning is really to focus on how to restart. And this is how we started to collaborate with them, because we had a very clear vision that collaboration is key in order to get further, because the things that are failing is collaboration between organizations, between airports, airlines. Every day you read something new on new testing this, but the problem is that one needs to look at the entire value chain of the testing and where you test, how you test, what is the cost related to the testing. Because I remember the initial testing that came out, it was 40, 50 pounds. And it should be accessible to all. And it should be at the price point that it will stimulate travel. Because if it is another burden that is, even in many times, the test is more expensive than the ticket.
So what do you think the price point should be? I mean, we see a whole range of prices out there. None of them are actually that affordable. Where should the market be at?
Well, if the price of a test is more expensive than your ticket, then something is to start with wrong. For us, it should be accessible to everybody. We're looking at the price point depending on scale, obviously. But for example, if you compare this with the Frankfurt airport that is doing 20,000 tests in combination with Lufthansa a day, we're targeting something below the $20.
That's extraordinarily efficient price, given what you're delivering in terms of end to end.
Exactly. And I think this is our USP, that we have really end-to-end program versus others.
If you could just map out the specific products that you've got out there in the marketplace right now and what you're looking to introduce in the coming months.
We started obviously with density, people trackers. Then we have added four technologies, which is a military-grade companies that have strip sensors that can count up to 300 people in a minute taking temperature. We have thermal scanners where there's also mask recognition, all the things that are relevant today. On the other side, we're also looking at multiple different platforms we're collaborating with because the technology will change on how we travel. And as you've seen, the amount of apps that are coming out. So we're collaborating also on that with a couple of companies where we're looking at the touchless travel and completely end-to-end experience where you don't need to use anything else as your phone. So this is something that we're working with multiple companies on. And again, this is about connecting the dots because we don't code those products, but we have a very clear vision of what is needed to create this really end-to-end solution. And it cannot be only a website from the airport, a website from the airline, plus here a website, plus. So all the gaps, we're trying basically to fill all the gaps, which are many. And this is something that is progressing quickly. And one of the examples was Circle Square with Neoma to build this non-invasive platform that one can target the traveler before being at the airport through social media campaigns. And there's a lot more in the pipeline.
That's already a good deal of traction in a very short period of time. You've only been trading for 6 months, and that's an extraordinary amount of work that you've actually accomplished. Just one final thing. If there's one thing you wanted to say to the airport and airline communities and travel retailers too at this point, what would it be?
I would start with my favorite quote. If you always do what you always did, you will always get what you always got. Meaning, airports need to move away from the mindset that they had. In my point of view, if there is no collaboration, then airports will lose out. Retailers will lose out. Brands and airlines will gain. So that is, I think, one of the most important things. And then I think also looking forward, one needs to look at its contractual model, which needs to become in the future a lot more flexible. It needs to have a more entrepreneurial spirit, from my point of view.
For sure.
And collaboration should be at the middle of everything. And then looking at what is relevant to all those travelers. And I think that health and well-being as a category will be throughout the entire customer journey, will become an important and a very integral part, because I do believe that there's a lot of concepts at airports that they're just there because the brand wants to invest the marketing activities. What is the sellout? Is it actually really working? And I think we're working on a very interesting project where we're looking at health and well-being as a holistic category that could apply for airport lounges, that could apply for airline lounges, but that could also be part of retail. Why don't we see any high quality food nutritions being sold in airports? Why is it only the bad stuff we're selling, the things that make you smell, that makes you drunk, and that stinks? Cigarettes, perfume, and liquor. We believe that there's a very big gap in the market, which we would like to discuss with airports. We're doing it already, who say, yes, it's relevant. And I think it's all about relevance, and people need to look at what is relevant to their travelers, what is relevant to their employees, because you cannot carve the future when your entire team is on furlough. So I think also there one needs to really look at how can we innovate when we don't have people around. And I think this is becoming very critical.
Some very interesting stuff there, and an extraordinary interview. And thank you very much, Adil, for your time. Wish you every success. Every success.
Thank you.
Take care.